What's going on, Axie fam? Elijah here, back with another video, and I've got one today I'm very excited about. Joining me is the world champion of Axie Infinity Origins. I'm talking about 1437 from Meditate Esports. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me here again, Elijah. It's always a pleasure.
So today we're going to be talking about the current meta, the new balance patch that's on the way, how that might change things. And we're going to reflect a little bit on AxieCon and how Theeban was able to clutch it out, even though he started down in the series versus Spam and Rice 0-2. Before we jump into it, I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a giveaway very soon. I'll be giving away this 6 of 6 Summer Axie, a gorgeous one. Just now getting ready to buy it and store it and, share something as we had a great summer, great victorious event at AxieCon. Now, to enter for this, you'll need to fill out the form in the description. We have some really big things on the way as a guild as well. So fill out the form to stay up to date with that and to be eligible to win this 6 of 6 collector Axie. So I want to jump into discussing AxieCon. If you missed it, there's some great highlights on our website. Go to meditate.gg. Pretty cool video here just showing the action live. It was incredible. You see Seb playing, Theeban playing. And I want to ask you, in reflecting on this event, what would you say is the number 1 thing that allowed you to take the crown?
It's really hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. I'd say it was an accumulation of so many years of experience. My team, my family, the support of everybody. It's really hard to just say one thing, but I will say I probably had a very good grasp on the meta. And it really helped me throughout not only at Axie World Championship, but also Season 0.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't know, he also won Season 0 while he was in Barcelona. He had to stay up till 6 a.m. So pretty insane feat that he double champed it up right there. We triple champed because Seb won the V2 tournament and we are ready to go full steam ahead. We've got some really exciting things on the way with esports. There's 90 grand up for grabs this season. That's by far the most massive prize pool that we've seen at the top of the leaderboard. $2.5 million in esports grants. So we're going to be getting really big tournaments, not just a few thousand up top anymore. We're talking heavy hitting tourneys. Theeban actually picked up 80 grand, 70 grand on this. Seb got, I think, 85 grand. If you want to get serious about your game, now is the time. Let's talk about your comp choice going into the finals and what you had to do to take this one home, even though you started down 2 games. So this is the team that you ended up, did you 3-0 here with this team, or did you make, no,
It
you
started
switched
with this team. This was my leaderboards team.
Right. Okay. So this is what you won the season with. AoE Rage Comp. We saw it was very popular at the end of last season, but you lost with it, right?
Yeah, in the grand finals of the World Championship, I did lose my first game with this. I always try to test out whether, my basic AoE comp was good enough to beat my opponent or if they're the ones who had to adjust.
So you go down 0-2, and then what are you thinking? What do you pivot to?
Right. So first game I played with this and it was very one-sided. So I decided to go for a different approach. So this approach was going for this cactus beast that I had with Confident and Innocent Lamb, Cottontail. So my idea here was I put a Scotch tape on the Confident and I also put a pre-order tag on my Innocent Lamb, which let me draw the Innocent Lamb on the first turn. So I used that, got the Confident out, and that kind of just stayed in my hand the whole entire time. So when I played against Spam and Rice in the grand finals, he was playing this chubby AoE bleed, and he also had the weak charm from the lazy snail. So there's a lot of debuffs that kept on going on my backliner who has endless anger. So with the Confident in my hand, now anytime I was weakened, I could always use the perfect timing with the Confident, remove the weak or remove the bleed off my backliner, protect it, and at the same time allowing me to go into Fury mode much faster.
So Theeban's definitely being humble in describing this, but this was a big brain play that nobody had done up until this point. He kept it in his back pocket. It was just to keep himself healthy and, like he said, move quickly. So now he's got 2 confidence in your deck, an extra one essentially from this beast. They're stuck to your hand so you can play them at the perfect time. I mean, it really was special watching it because essentially, you know, Spam and him are running the two best compositions in the game. They finished 1 and 2 in arena, and then bang, out of nowhere, we get this, you know, pretty funny looking beast. So essentially, you clutch it out, you reverse sweep 3-0. How do you describe that feeling, man? Like, you know, there you go, huge prize pool, you know, king of Axie, essentially.
He's so weak that he needs damage. He needs damage, and he has it. And I think we have a champion. We have a champion of the world, Axie Origins, first champion, 1437.
Game. Oh my gosh.
That's it.
Yeah, it went from like nothing to lose in game 3 to just closing it out, reverse sweeping, and it was just like this unbelievable feeling. I didn't even feel like I was there anymore. My mind was somewhere else. I couldn't even really, it didn't sink in, essentially, in that moment that I had won. I just know that I won, and it was over. All this effort, all this time that I spent for this event really paid off. And then I just saw all the crowd cheering. My mind just kind of went numb. My ears went numb for a second. Like, I didn't know what was really happening. I just remember Zayori coming to the side, asking me questions. And I was like, dude, I don't know if I can answer whatever you have to say. It's just like this euphoric feeling that it's really unexplainable. But all I know is that I want to be able to feel that again.
For sure. I'm sure you will, man. So yeah, incredible event. I was fortunate enough to cast it. It's available on YouTube, by the way, if you want to watch the whole thing. So I've thrown some clips into this, as you can see, but if you want to go back and just watch the series, there's a link in the description below to Axie Infinity's YouTube channel. All right. Super proud of you, by the way, bro. It's been a journey building this out at Meditate. I think that you know, our culture here from the jump, from the very beginning, was to focus on esports. We never built out a scholarship. We never really tried to think about anything other than competing at the highest level, keeping our minds fresh. And I think that that really showed. And you're a hell of a head coach for the guys as well. They all just massively look up to you.
You know, I love doing it. I love being a competitor, working with the guys day in, day out. It's just so much fun for me. I come from Dota, you know, I always competed there as well. It's just who I am. So it's just such a perfect situation for me to be in.
That's awesome. So now that we've recapped there and we've got some insights into the mind of a champion and what you had to do, and hopefully that served as some help to you guys when you're thinking about, you know, tournament play, making those subtle reads and adjustments, I do want to move into the current state of things. I know you're currently in the top 100. Everyone is sort of running these mid-range season builds where like the Mystic runes haven't hit the market yet. No one's really gotten any. So a lot of decent AoE comps or Bloodlust Aquas. And obviously the Triple Beast is very popular as well. But I want to get your thoughts on where do we go? Like, what's the end game potentially? What about these patch notes that came out? Is there anything significant? It looked like a pretty light patch, but how can we like prepare our viewers here to have some insights as they try to figure out what they're going to play down the stretch?
All right, so let's just start with the patch notes then. It seemed like there was very little, but there was actually a lot more than you would expect. The patch has not come out yet, but we can speculate what's going to happen. We see some nerfs to Cottontail and Nemo. People have been complaining about these cards a lot. They only reduce the healing by 10. But to be honest, a lot of the teams that use this do have a Pango in the front on a beast, and that 10 HP can go a long way. Do not underestimate this nerf. I feel like there will be a little bit of pullback. So Spiky Wing, Winghorn, Gerbil, Toothless Bite, I don't really expect too much from these things.
Yeah.
You know, 10 damage extra on the Gerbil and Toothless Bite is nice, but it's not a big deal. So runes, we have a little bit of changes on Bloodlust. Attacks that cause HP loss will steal HP. So that means if your opponent has shield and you damage into the shield, then you will not be able to heal from the Bloodlust. It's not that big of a nerf. Of course, it's going to be worse against some sustained comps, but in general, I think Bloodlust is just as good as it is. Endless Anger, this is the one that, you know, it really hurts, especially me and the comp that I was running last season. AoE attacks now grant half the damage bonus. So previously, every stack of Rage will give you 3 damage. onto your AoE. Now it's only going to give you pretty much 1.5. So previously at 8 stacks, you would get 24 damage on each of your AoE cards, but now you would only get a maximum of 12. Now that is just as much as Hardy Warrior, for example. Of course, if you go into Fury mode, now you're going to be able to do the big damage, but then AoE cards in general have very low base damage. Still not going to be that amazing. And at the same time, the power of the AoE previously was that on the way up with the rage stacks, you were constantly increasing damage by a significant amount.
Yeah, it was crazy damage before without going into Fury. It's so much less now. And then, like you said, when in Fury, what are you gonna do? Crit Grandma fan? Do like, 40 damage or something? So anyway, big adjustments to that, even though it might not look like a lot, it's pretty massive. I don't expect to see what we saw last season where it was like top 15 all Fury rage comps. So don't go planning your whole system around that, because it's probably not going to be, incredible.
Right. And we're talking about the AoE Fury. There's probably still going to be a lot of Fury comps out there this season.
Definitely a lot of Endless Anger. If you get that, hang on to it and go. Probably my suggestion would be down a front and center Shiba-esque build, which is what we're seeing now currently without the Endless Anger all over the place.
So the other effects that were changed were Bubble and Rage. They just kind of made the effects of those on AoE as well by half. So another nerf to AoE. And then lastly, but definitely not least, I think the biggest hurt to AoE was these things. I even talked about on Twitter how I believe AoE got scuffed really hard. Spam and Rice came back. He's like, we both know how good AoE is. And then he and I actually had a private conversation. I explained to him why I actually think it's really bad. And I'll say it right here. Hidden Razor, AoE and multi-hit apply only for 2 turns. Same with Lazy Snail, Jellyfish, Flamingo Hammer. Lazy Snail and Hidden Razor were 2 actually very important parts to the AoE builds. They were the ones that were able to allow you to fight against Aqua teams and other very aggressive teams. I feel like without these 2, and don't forget, these are mystic charms, right? So these mystic charms kind of feel like rare charms at this point, because they also cost 5 PP just to use them, and now they only last for 1 turn. So it's a big hit to AoE teams. So if you accumulate all of those nerfs together, I do believe that they're no longer going to be this S tier comp anymore. Probably going to fall down to maybe A tier or B plus tier, where I do feel like there's going to be a lot of other builds that are going to be much stronger.
Yeah, so let's just speculate real quick. What do you think we could see in the end game mode? I'm talking like top 10 compositions. Now, don't give us all your secrets, but are we going to see big, beefy, sustain teams? Is Poison going to make a return? Is it just going to be these front and center Endless Anger compositions? What do you see in your crystal ball of Axie?
Yeah, there's a few comps that have been really good previously before I came up with this AoE rage team and then messed everything up. One of the biggest ones was the front to back rage teams. So that's what we see now with the Shibas.
Let's head over to the leaderboard real quick and take a look maybe at what that looks like. So let's talk about this. What are you seeing? This guy's rank 2, by the way. So, I mean, he's running Triple Beast, the Triple Shiba, which is pretty crazy.
So the way that they run this team right now is just running the Triple Shibas. If they ever take any damage, you can just choose which one has a Shiba ready, activate it. There's also 3 confidence on this with 2 other innocent lambs. So it's just all about using those 0 cost to keep pumping out those rage stacks until one of your Axies can go into Fury. Normally you have Cottontails or Nemos in builds, but the way that these teams are designed, you're just so tanky with these pangolin scales and all these HP charms. You just live long enough to be able to go into this Fury mode, thus giving you the energy and being able to do these big hits.
That's right. I mean, 4 rage stacks when you drop below 75% HP. I mean, I know this card wasn't that great before, so they buffed the hell out of it, and now that is absurd.
Yeah, I feel the biggest strength of these Shiba teams is not more on the Shiba, but about the confident itself. The fact that it removes disables, it removes all these negative debuffs. That's what makes it so strong.
So
You know,
good.
even poison teams previously, I felt like they had a really good chance against these beasts because you can constantly stun them with stun stamps and apply the poison. But now, even if you were to do that, there's so many confidence that are constantly removing the poison stacks and removing the disables that you don't really have a way to be able to combat it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm a poison player, so I've just had to adjust and switch it up. I just got to Challenger today. I'm playing Aquas. Maybe I'll make a video on that in the future. I think Aquas could be very viable, and they're not like, to get a great double Aqua Beast team, not like that expensive when you're talking about the type of prize money up for grabs. You know, you can probably bank on that for a top, you know, 100 spot, maybe even higher. We had plenty of guys in the top like 25 last season, top 50 that had it. But again, we have a lot of time. I think the main thing I'd suggest is that to be patient, to roll with like what you get and build around what you're getting and not spend too much money, because we have what, 40, 50 something days left, and the end game comps, they're not here yet. The end game rune varieties, we haven't seen it. Curse comps, I think, are probably the best way to counter beasts right now, and probably in the future. Let's wrap up with that. Like X Factor comps, are you seeing maybe a Gloomy Dice show up? Are you seeing like what's gonna put a stop? How are we gonna not have, you know, 15 triple beast comps in the top of the leaderboard?
I mean, I have a few ideas already in mind. I just don't want to obviously expose those ideas before I can actually get my hands on the Axies.
Yeah.
That can fulfill my dream of destroying these teams. Then I also feel there's a lot of other builds that are going to be very viable. Like I said, Gloomy Dice, you know, Shady Prayer comps. A lot of it is going to revolve around these mystics and how you manage to build the best comps out of it. These Shiba comps are really good in the current moment because they are the best, you know, mid-season, mid-tier team at the for now, but we haven't seen all the end game builds yet.
That's right. Very exciting times. I know I'm going to be putting in my best effort. There's a lot of money up for grabs, a lot of like clout status. You know, people are hungry to show how good they can be at this game, especially as the stakes grow, right? So it's not just about the money, but it's also getting to say like, hey, I'm up here. I'm at the top of it. And that's exciting. Again, make sure that you fill out the form below to stay up to speed with what we have planned for Meditate. Big things on the horizon very, very soon, and to potentially win that 6-6 summer Axie that I'm going to be giving away. Theeban, final thoughts?
Well, you know, they try to nerf me. They try to nerf my comp, but you know what? They can't actually nerf me. So I'm really looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to trying new builds out, seeing where we as Meditate end up on the leaderboards. It's going to be super fun. And if you guys haven't already, use code Elijah, creator code Elijah. Or if you don't want to use creator code Elijah, you can use creator code 1437.
Get the championship buff.
Championship buff. Exactly. I call it the championship luck.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys, we're going to sign off. Thanks for watching. Love you. Catch you in the next video. Peace.